Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Young Justice 6-inch Artemis. Continuing on with their collector-friendly 6-inch action figures based on the animated series, comes the Young Justice Artemis. Artemis comes in the large window box with both the DC Universe and Young Justice logos. It is a very large box, but it's designed this way specifically for that huge figure base that's included inside, which we'll take a closer look at later on. The back of that box features some information on the character, as well as a look at the other Young Justice action figures. Artemis is designed after the look of the character as she appears in the Young Justice animated series. Unlike the Young Justice Robin we looked at before, Artemis here definitely seems to have a more overall animated appearance. While the body is still designed in a very similar manner to DC Universe Classics figures, she appears to be a bit more slender and the design of her face is more angular. The articulation is standard for DC Universe figures, so if you're familiar with those, then you know exactly what you're getting here. She features articulation in her head, arms, elbows, wrists, abs, waist, hips, thighs, knees, and ankles, all allowing for superposability. Now, one thing Artemis has that I don't recall seeing before on any of the other DC Universe figures is an articulated ponytail. That hairpiece is separate and can actually be removed. This jointed hairpiece can be moved and positioned to allow for some really neat looking windswept hair poses. Now, unlike the DCUC Green Arrow, this wielder of a bow and arrow does not feature the special wrist articulation, although she can still seem to hold the bow just fine. Speaking of that bow, let's take a look at those accessories. She includes a bow with an arrow, 4 additional arrows, all with unique tips, and a quiver. The quiver is removable from the figure. Removing her ponytail like I showed earlier actually helps to get the piece off. It's made of a soft, rubbery plastic, but the arrows are all part of the mold, and they are non-removable. So this can't really hold any of those extra arrows that she came with, it's just for show. Now here's what's cool about her bow. Unlike the DCUC Green Arrow, the arrow on Artemis's bow is not glued in place. You can actually remove the arrow that is clipped onto the bow and replace it with any of the others. So it doesn't actually fire, but at least you can actually use the other arrows that she includes. Just like Robin, Artemis comes with a huge display base. Instead of a city scene, this one features a target for Artemis to fire her arrows into. This base only includes one peg, so there's really only one place for a figure to stand. There's a small tube that you can place all of the extra arrows in. There's also this small clip that, to be perfectly honest, I'm not exactly sure what it's for. The box has no indication. So I guess this could also hold some arrows, or maybe it's to store Artemis's bow. I guess you can use it for whatever you want. The cool target at the end has 2 places that you can actually plug most of her arrows into to make it appear as if Artemis has struck a bullseye. The only arrow that does not fit in these holes is the normal arrow that comes plugged into the bow. While I don't think this is quite as cool as the rooftop base that came with Robin, it's still a pretty neat little display base, and it's almost like its own mini playset. I'm actually really digging these new 6-inch Young Justice action figures. As a fan of the cartoon series, it's great seeing collector quality figures in the style of that cartoon. Artemis is a pretty great figure overall. I actually think her appearance is a bit better than the Robin that we already looked at, and I love all of the additional accessories. And being able to actually use the arrows on the bow gets her a ton of bonus points. If you're a Young Justice fan and a DC UC collector, definitely check this one out. Until next time,